In the end of time, the Prophet of Allah said, towards the end of time, يَتَقَارَبُ الزَّمَانِ. He said that time will be brought close. يَتَقَارَبُ الزَّمَانِ وَيَقْبَضُ الْعِلْمِ وَتَظْهَرُ الْفِتَنِ وَيُلْقَى الشُّحْ وَيَكْثُرَ الْحَرَجِ. But he began this hadith by saying, time will be brought close. What does it mean that time will be brought close? One of the explanations is it means قِلَّةِ الْبَرَكَةِ فِي الزَّمَانِ, that you will have a less of blessing in time. That in the end of time, towards the end of time, there will be less blessing within time. Ibn Hajar rahimahullah, he said, قَدْ وُجِدَ هَذَا فِي زَمَانِنَا. We're finding this hadith is true in our time. فَإِنَّنَا نَجِدْ مِنْ سُرْعَةٍ مَرَّ الْأَيَّامِ. For indeed we find the speed in which time is passing like we've never seen before. And Ibn Hajar is saying this more than 1,000 years ago in his time. Imagine our time. It is not some kind of media cliche that time is speeding up, or some kind of a perceptual mirage that time is speeding up. It's the truth. And I think if you just ask your parents, they will say, my life went so fast. And I was thinking about this, and I'm thinking, okay, from 0 to 20 years, or even 0 to 15, it seems like a long time for you, isn't it? 0 to 15 or 0 to 20. So many things happen in that time. So many things, so many events, so many you're growing up and you remember so many things. But then it seems if 20 to 40, if you get to 40, I'm not there as yet, but if you get to 40, less things seem to happen. And more things seem to happen when you're younger. One of the explanations is that we're living in a world of real timing. We have so many historical moments that we can now see in a way that nobody else could experience before us. You see, no generation had that privilege, or that lack of privilege, that you can see so many historical moments. What does that mean? On the one hand, when you have قِلَّةَ الْبَرَكَةِ فِي الزَّمَانِ, that loss of barakah in time, like people of the past, they could do so much with their time, that the hour clocks and the hour passes and the clock ticks in the same way for everybody on earth. For everybody on earth. But why is it that some people had so much blessing within their time and some people have less blessing? So you'll find that within the day you didn't get much done, whereas in the past people have written books in the time that we've spent doing nothing within the time. Less blessing within the time. One of the ways that we can help remedy this is that when you begin your time in the morning, you begin with your adhkar, you begin with your du'as that the Prophet would read in the morning. Allahumma inni as'aluka khayra hadha al-yawm fathahu. Allah, I ask you for the blessing of this day, the blessing, the goodness of it. Wa a'udhu bika min sharriha, and I seek refuge with you from the evil of this day. Allahumma ma asbaha bi min ni'matin aw bi ahadin. You thank Allah for the blessing of the day. Allahumma barik lana fi awqatina. Allah bless us in our time. You can make du'as to Allah to help you with the structuring of your time. The second explanation is, so on the one hand, less blessing in time. The second thing is that you have the speed of events within time. And this affects the way that you process timing in your mind. So, we're living, like I said, in real time, in speech marks. What that means is that our historical moments within time increase. Like in the past, people, they didn't even know what was happening in the next village. They didn't even know what's happening next village because they can't travel there. It takes too long, or there's no need to travel there. Now, from the comfort of your homes, you can know and see live what's happening in England and France and Pakistan, all at the same time on 3 different TVs. We shouldn't have 3 TVs, but you get the point. You can see the same thing happening all at the same time, all happening live. And so your historical moments are increasing, therefore time is speeding up for you. That's something that's affecting your subconscious. The third thing is that the means of communication, al-juwiyatu as-sari'a allati qarrabat al-ba'id, the speed of communication, al-ittisalat, the speed of transport is bringing the far close. is bringing the far, the distance, close. And so time therefore is speeding up. The Prophet said, يَتَقَارَبُ الزَّمَانِ, time is being brought close. And all of us are being affected by this. And so we have to learn and think carefully how to plan our days and maximize the benefit of the day, and to use the day in the best possible way. Right? Otherwise our days and hours would pass us and then we won't know what's actually happened. I just didn't know what happened. The Salaf, they would say, يَا ابْنَ آدَمْ إِنَّ اللَّيْلَ وَالنَّهَارَ يَعْمَلَانْ فِيكَ فَأْمَلْ فِيهِمَا. O son of Adam, the night and the day is working hard on you, so why don't you work hard in the night and the day? يَا ابْنَ آدَمْ إِنَّمَا أَنْتَ أَيَّامٌ. O son of Adam, all you are is a collection of days. فَإِذَا ذَهَبَ يَوْمٌ ذَهَبَ بَعْضُكَ. And if a day leaves you, it means a part of you has also left you. So therefore, always in the morning begin by thinking, how am I going to best use this day? Begin, never miss your Fajr Salah, pray in the masjid. Maximize your time in the day. You have so many blessings within the day, so many timings within the day for salawat, for adhkar, for Quran, Quran al-Fajr. Quran at the Fajr time is the best time to read Quran. It's maximizing the way that you use time. The Prophet said in this hadith, يَتَقَارَبُ الزَّمَانِ وَيُقْبَضُ الْعِلْمِ, and that knowledge will be lifted. Knowledge will be lifted, and that was so confusing. Sahaba, they said, how? Ziyad ibn Labid was present. He said, Ya Rasulullah, how will knowledge go? إِذَا نَقْرَأُ الْقُرْآنِ, if we recite Quran, and then we teach it to our children, and then they teach it to their children, until the day of judgment. How is knowledge going to go, Ya Rasulullah? How? If we're all learning Quran, how to recite Quran, and then we're teaching it, and then they're teaching it, until the end of time, how is it going to go? And the Prophet said, ثَكُلَتْكَ أُمُّكَ يَا زِيَادٍ, may your mother cry over you, O Ziyad. It was a light expression, but with a profound meaning. May your mother cry tears over you, O Ziyad. Why? He said, إِنِّي كُنْتُ أَرَاكَ مِنْ أَفْقَهِ رَجُلٍ مِنْ الْمَدِينَةِ. I used to think you were one of the most intelligent people in Medina. How? He said to him, أَوَلَيْسَ هَذِهِ الْيَهُودُ وَالنَّصَارَى. Do you not see these Jews and Christians? يَقْرَؤُونَ التَّوْرَاةِ وَالْإِنْجِيلِ. They recite the Torah and the Injil. Keep reciting Torah and Injil. وَلَا يَعْمَلُونَ بِشَيْءٍ مِمَّا هُمَا. But they don't act according to anything in those books. And so he's saying, if that's what you're going to become, only a people of reciting but not acting, then knowledge will be lifted from you. That means you have not appreciated to begin with what knowledge actually is. The Prophet would say in the morning every day after Fajr, Allahumma inni as'aluka ilman nafi'an wa rizqan tayyiban wa amalan mutaqabbalan. Oh Allah, I ask you for beneficial knowledge to benefit me and to benefit others. He would also say, Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min ilmin la yanfa' wa min qalbin la yakhsha. Oh Allah, I seek refuge with you from knowledge that has no benefit, and from a heart that is not having khushu'. But these two are interlinked, interlaced, because your pursuit of knowledge should be to connect yourself to Allah. إِنَّمَا يَخْشَى اللَّهِ مِنْ عِبَادِهِ الْعُلَمَاءِ. Those who truly have khushu' of Allah are the ulama, are those who learn and know things. And therefore the knowledge should lead you to khushu'. If it's emptiness and producing emptiness, then what benefit is it having in you? And so the person was forewarning, if you only become a people of qira'ah, the Quran has obligations upon us. The first one is to recite. The second is to reflect, tafakkur. And then the third is to respond. Istajibu li rabbikum min qabli ya'tiya yawmun la maradda lahum min Allah. Ma lakum min malja'in yawma idhin wa ma lakum min nakir. Allah says, respond to your Lord. Respond to your Lord. You have to respond to the commands of Allah in the Quran, not just recite. In the 1930s you had two prolific authors in the West. One was called George Orwell, who authored a text called 1984. And 1984, was a book about the future. He wrote the text in the 1930s. And this was his dystopian vision of the future. He believed that when 1984 is going to come, it's going to be a terrible world to live in. He believed that in 1984 you're going to have no books. Books will be banned and burnt. and no one will be allowed to read, and you're going to have government control and surveillance, and everybody will be in a state of under dhulam, madhlumin. And he wrote this book, and this is what he said, about what he believed 1984 would look like. Around the same time, another man called Aldous Huxley in England, he wrote another book called Brave New World. And he also wrote about, it's a fiction, both are fiction texts about what the future might look like around the year 1984. And he didn't believe, like Orwell believed, that you're going to have to ban books, or the government will ban books or burn books. Huxley believed that you're going to have so many books, the world will be full of books, but nobody would want to read a book. You'll have so many books, no one wants to read a book. Where Orwell believed that information would be banned, Huxley believed that you'll have so much information, but you wouldn't know where the truth of that information is. Where Orwell believed, that the thing that you hate is going to destroy you, like you hate to be oppressed by zulm. Orwell believed that the thing that you love the most is going to destroy you, like you love entertainment, and that's going to destroy you. And there's something interesting in what both of these people were actually saying. The Prophet said, before the end of time, the Prophet said, there will be zuhur al-qalam, there will be a proliferation of writing. There will be a lot of authorship, a lot of writing of books. And so how would it work then if you find on the one hand knowledge being lifted, and then you find a lot of books being written? How does that work? If you find knowledge being lifted, and then a lot of books being written, and everybody can write now, literacy levels will go up. In fact, they have gone up. In 1870 in America, the blacks were predominantly illiterate. But by 1970, in 100 years, their literacy levels and rates were the same as white people in America. Today in our world, about 102 countries have reached a 90% illiteracy rate level of simple reading and writing. And about 128 countries have it at 80% of simple reading and writing. So people have become more literate in being able to read and write. But the question still remains about what is the purposefulness of that knowledge? What is the use of that knowledge? What does that knowledge produce within the heart? Of what social goodness is that knowledge producing? And this is a sign before the end of time. The Prophet said, and he said in the same hadith, وَتَظْهَرُ الْفِتَنِ, and fitan and trials, tribulations would increase. All kinds of trials, all kinds of tribulations. One of them is specific to women. He said in one hadith, صِنْفَانْ مِنْ أَهْلِ النَّارِ لَمْ أَرَاهُمَا. A frightening hadith. He said there are two kinds of people from the people of Jahannam, I haven't seen them as yet. صِنْفَانْ مِنْ أَهْلِ النَّارِ لَمْ أَرَاهُمَا. One of them is nisa'un, kasiyatun, ariyatun, mumilatun, ma'ilatun. Women who are clothed but unclothed. Women who wear clothing, but it's as if they're unclothed, because you can see their bodies from their clothing. And what a dilemma that we have in the world today. And this is true also of Pakistan. Women who are clothed but unclothed. And he said there will be a people, nasun ma'hum siyatun ka'adhnabil baqar, people who will have whips like the tails of cows. يضربون به وجوه الناس, and they will smack people's faces using those whips, meaning oppressive, tyrannical governments. And military, people who have whips, and they will make dhulm on people. And this hadith, the Prophet said, "Sinfan min ahli al-nar lam arahuma." Two kinds of people from the people of Jahannam, I haven't seen them as yet. Fitan, trials, tribulations, of what kind? So many kinds. The Prophet said towards the end of time, وَالَّذِي نَفْسِي بِيَدِهِ, by him in whose hand is my soul, لَا تَذْهَبُ الدُّنْيَا, this world will not go. حَتَّى يَمُرُّ الرَّجُلْ عَلَى الْقَبْرِ, until a man will pass by a grave. فَيَتَمَرَّغُ عَلَيْهِ, and he will roll in the dust of the grave. وَيَقُولُ, and he will say, يَا لَيْتَنِي كُنْتُ فِي مَكَانِ هَذَا. he will roll in the grave, in the dust of the grave, and say, I wish I was in this man's place. And the Prophet said, وَلَيْسَ لَهُ الدَّيْنِ إِلَّا الْبَلَاءِ. This man does not have any debt. Think I should die because I have debt. إِلَّا الْبَلَاءِ, except tribulations, hardships and tests and trials and tribulations that come his way. That people would wish that they were dead. We have people in the world today who actually do kill themselves for reasons like that. They not only wish they were dead, they kill themselves so they could die because of situations like this. And they have no coping mechanisms about things. We have a lot of these cases in the West of young kids who kill themselves, young kids, teenagers who hang themselves and kill themselves because of things like exam pressure, or because they have trouble with their boyfriends or their girlfriends, or troubles at home, and they hang themselves and kill themselves. And you find this a lot happens in the West like that. That people get fed up with life. You have young people. A young Sikh boy, Vijay Singh, 11-year-old in England, he hanged himself because of bullying. This happens, and people, they just prefer to die rather than live on this earth and deal with problems and have patience and perseverance and all the things that we are encouraged to do in the Quran, or have in the Quran and in the prophetic instruction, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But you will find this. The Prophet said towards the end of time, وَيُلْقَ الشُّحْ, he said that miserliness, greed would increase. People will become greedy and miserly. You see how distinct and different this is from the Prophet's own companions. In the Quran, Allah praises the Ansar for being people of ithar, which is to prefer others to themselves. وَيُؤْثِرُونَ عَلَى أَنفُسِهِمْ وَلَوْ كَانَ بِهِمْ خَصَاصَةٌ. Allah says that they prefer others to themselves even though they are the ones who are in need. وَمَنْ يُوقَ شُحَّ نَفْسِهِ فَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْمُفْلِحُونَ. Whoever can overcome the stinginess of himself, then they are the successful ones. And so Sahaba, they lived with this, When the people of Abu Musa al-Ash'ari came along, the Asha'ira, when they came along, the Prophet told his companions, you're going to meet a people who are better than you. And they're thinking, who are these people? And they were the people of Abu Musa al-Ash'ari radiallahu anh. Because what they used to do when they came into Medina, they would have small mats. And they would put their small mats on the floor. And they were so poor. They would only have a few things, dates and a few biscuits and a few things. But they would never consume all of that themselves. They would always share with everybody, even if they ended up with only a small piece of it. Meaning, the way that Sahaba, they looked upon the Ansar and understood the meaning of Ithar, and they looked upon the people of Abu Musa al-Ash'ari radiallahu anh. And so this is how society is supposed to function with people. That you don't leave the poor as poor. That your moral compassion that you have ought to be moral consistency that you have for people. But in the end of time, you're going to have an increase in miserliness and greed. Everybody wants for themselves. Greed. The Prophet said, اتقوا الظلم فإن الظلم ظلمات يوم القيامة واتقوا الشح. He said, beware of injustice, because that is darknesses on the day of judgment, and beware of greed and miserliness. فَإِنَّ الشُّحَ قَدْ أَهْلَكَ مَنْ كَانَ قَبْلَكُمْ. Because indeed miserliness and greed destroyed those who came before you. What happened? Destroyed those who came before you, and with those people, they believed it was allowed for them to kill other people because of that greed. سَفَكُوا دِمَاءَهُمْ. They spilled the blood of each other because they were greedy. And how much does that happen? So much. The people are not content. They think that the life is so easy to take because I want something. And if I want something, then I have a right to have that thing. It doesn't matter if somebody is killed. It doesn't matter if some mother has to cry her entire life because somebody got killed. The main thing is I want the phone. If I want the phone, I have a right to the phone. I will take the phone. And if you die in the process, well, that's tough luck because I wanted the phone. This is a mindset of a person who just has this shuh, miserliness and greed. He wants everything for himself. And this is a great trouble. In the end of time, in fact, the Prophet ﷺ said not only would people potentially kill themselves because of greed, or kill others because of greed, you would find an increase in mass killing. This hadith, it ends by saying, وَيَكْثُرَ الْحَرَجِ. The Prophet said you will find an increase in haraj. And Sahaba, they said, because haraj is an Ethiopian word, it's not an Arabic word. They said, وَمَا الْحَرَجِ, what is haraj? And the Prophet said, Al-qatlu al-qatl. It means killing and killing. Killing and killing. Inna bayna yaday as-sa'a, the Prophet said, before the end of time, al-qatl, you will find qatl. Yazulu, he said that you will find that knowledge would go and ignorance would appear. In fact, in one hadith, like by Imam Ahmad and Ibn Majah, the Sahaba, they said, when the Prophet said this, they said to him, وَمَعْنَا أُقُولُنَا يَوْمَئِذٍ, are we going to have our brains, our intellects at that time? Like they could not understand, what does it mean? How you're saying everyone's going to kill. And the Sahaba, they said, are we going to have our minds? أُقُولُنَا يَوْمَئِذٍ, are we going to have our brains on that day? And the Prophet said, إِنَّهُ لَيُنْزَعُ عُقُولُ أَكْثَرِ أَهْلِ ذَلِكَ الزَّمَانِ وَكَمَا قَالَ, that most people at that time would have no brains. Most people at that time would have no minds. Meaning intelligence levels are just going to drop. You know, when you look at yourself, we have this conflation of self and otherness in our world. The man who points his trigger, his barrel, and is about to pull the trigger to kill somebody, he has destroyed a part of himself before he's killed anybody else. Because within the self you recognize the other, in that your form is the same, or maybe your eyes look the same, or you both experience joy, or you both experience sadness. You both have mothers that might cry for you, innocent people. The Prophet said that the Muslim remains fi fishatin min dinihi ma lam yusib daman haraman. A Muslim remains, within the boundaries of his religion as long as he does not spill innocent blood. Spilling innocent blood, killing innocent people. The Prophet said it will come to a point in the end of time, وَالَّذِي نَفْسِي بِيَدِهِ, he said, by him in whose hand is my soul, لَا تَذْهَبُ الدُّنْيا, this world will not go, حَتَّى يَأْتِي عَلَى النَّاسِ يَوْمٌ, until there comes upon the people a day. لَا يَدْرِ الْقَاتِلْ فِي مَا قَتَلْ, the one who kills will not know why he is killing, وَلَا الْمَقْتُولِ فِي مَا قُتِلْ, and the one who is being killed will not know why he is being killed. Imagine, the one who is killing will not know why he is killing, and the one who is being killed will not know why he's being killed. And I think this operates on many levels. If you look at it from a national level, there's a good book by a man called Barry Sanders called A is for Ox. And he looks at gang culture and gun violence in America. And he said that in the 1990s in Los Angeles, in America, you had about 30,000 children who took this oath of do or die. To gain acceptance in the gangs, they have to do something like this, kill an innocent person, to show that they're worthy to be in the gang. And he said that the most famous and popular weapon for gangsters in those days was a gun called the Cobra M11. And the Cobra M11, it has a very large barrel. It's an automatic rifle and it fires like 1,000 rounds per minute. He said why this was a good choice for the gangsters is because this weapon, it defies accuracy. There's no being accurate with this gun, meaning you can't go and make a hit on somebody and just target that one person. No, your whole purpose is to create a carnage. Is to create as much blood and body parts and death as much as you can, because this gun is what will produce it. And that was a favored weapon of choice for gangsters in the 1990s, a Cobra M11. And what he then surmises in his book is that if you look at the life of these people from a young age, you will find that these people, as youngsters, they lived in homes where maybe there was some drugs, and there was cable TV, satellite TV, and there was computer games. And in the computer games, all they do all day long, playing the computer games where they have to kill people on the computer games. And the more people they kill, then the more points they get, and the more marks they get, the more people they kill. And they're seeing that every single day. Their minds are transfixed, fixated on the visual image. If we live in the world of the visual image, all we become is passive recipients. All you're doing is you're seeing a flurry of screens so fast for your brain to register. All it's just, you're just taking it all in. And you're not doing much thinking, you're just now, you're just going along with the flow. And so from the active you become passive, and that's it. And so you're programmed just to press the buttons and just shoot and kill. For a people, he said, like that, who have no education, he said in their homes you will find no books, no literacy, no reading, nothing. They can struggle with humanizing another life, because all they're confronted with is death and killing. And he has police transcripts, and those kids who kill other people, innocent people, they never use words like murder or kill or pain. They use words like annihilate, obliterate, terminate. It's like the same kind of words that you're going to find in the movies or in the computer games. This is on a national level. People killing innocent people. The more cold the heart is, the larger the barrel is going to be. And the less they're going to see the human at the end of the barrel. The more cold the heart is. And then you find on an international level, mass killing. Mass killing and murder. If you look at the Second World War, you had these fire raids in Hamburg, in Tokyo. In Hamburg, for example, in 1943, they flew about 300 B-29 bombers over Hamburg in the fire raid, which lasted 6 hours, where the air temperature in Hamburg and Tokyo was 800 degrees Celsius. Air temperature, 800 degrees Celsius. The eyewitnesses said that we saw people just spark up like matches. Just spark up like matches out of nothing, because it's so hot. And first they sent these 50-pound incendiaries, and 100 pounds, 500 pounds, 1,000-pound incendiaries. And so people had no escape. Now the B-29 bombers, before the bombs have even landed, they're way off somewhere else. They don't see the mess that they've created. So we live in a world of indifference, desensitization, dehumanization. If people are killing, they don't see the mess. It's much harder for a person flying his F-16 fighter jet. If there's a person bombing innocent people on his F-16 fighter jet, it is much harder for him, that one person, to come down to earth and take a knife and stab a person, one of his victims, to stab one. Harder for him. Why? Because he has to pass through 3 phases. One, when he's about to kill that person, he will see the person begging for his life. Please, please, I'm sick, or my mother's dying, or he will say something just to save himself. The person with a knife, he has to just pass that and just stab him anyway. And then he will see the mess he's created. Allah in the Quran says, وَاتْلُوا عَلَيْهِمْ نَبَأَ ابْنَيْ آدَمَ بِالْحَقِّ. And even though the brother who was a victim said, لَإِن بَسَطْتَ إِلَيَّ يَدَكْ لِتَقْتُلَنِي مَا أَنَا بِبَاسِطٍ يَدِي إِلَيْكَ لِأَقْتُلَكَ إِنِّي أَخَافُ اللَّهَ رَبَّ الْعَالَمِينَ. If you stretch your hand to me to kill me, I will not stretch my hand to you to kill you, because I fear Allah, the Lord of the worlds. But the brother still killed him, and then became one of the nadimeen. He regretted his actions, until Allah sent a crow, and the crow began to scratch the earth. And the brother realized, I have to bury my brother the way this crow is scratching the earth. I have to dig a grave to bury my brother, because it was something he saw that should not be there. It was a violation, taking away the innocence of somebody. And so when somebody is going to stab a person, he is confronted with the mess he's creating. The blood, the gore is on his hands, is on his knife, he's seeing it all, seeing it. And then the person is going to fall on the floor. And then the person, maybe if he's still alive or she's still alive, he's going to beg, please call an ambulance. He has to ignore all of that. One person to press a button and drop a bomb that can kill 1,000 people is much easier. Because before the bombs even landed, it's far, far off. Go back home to drink coffee in Starbucks, far off. But one person, one human life, when you're confronted with closeness, this is why altitude relates to attitude. The higher up you are, the less you're going to feel. When the Nazis used to kill the Jews in the Holocaust, they used to first gun them. They used to have summary executions, gunning them. Jazakumullah khairan.